Thank you for joining us today for our first WAMS webinar Wednesday. Kathleen Kvitek, WAMS Director of Training, will be joining us for this new series, and she will walk you through some helpful tips and tricks and applications that many of you use in your day-to-day. To kick off this new series, Kathleen will be teaching you some great formatting tips for Microsoft Word. Now, for those unfamiliar, I'll share a little bit about us. WAMS has been providing law firms and businesses with computer consulting and support services since 1974. We continue our reputation for quality and service today by installing and proactively maintaining computer systems, as well as providing technology solutions for hundreds of law firms and businesses. We keep our implementation agreements friendly and flexible to take advantage of opportunities that benefit both the client and WAMS. From start to finish, we care about your business and support our clients to be as successful as possible. So to help you to be more successful using Microsoft Word, today Kathleen will cover, let's go ahead and get there. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here. Oh my goodness, why is it doing this? It's not supposed to do that. So sorry about that. All right, so today we will be discussing the importance of formatting Microsoft Word documents. And then Kathleen will go ahead and show you some tips on using paste unformatted. And then we will go into controlling formatting when copying and pasting text. And then Kathleen will discuss the importance of paragraph styles. And then we'll go ahead and show you how to create your own paragraph styles. Then we will go ahead and open up for a little Q&A at the end. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please type them in the chat box and we will address them during that time. So to start us off, Kathleen will explain the importance of formatting Word documents.
Okay, hi everybody. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is why it's important to have knowledge of Microsoft Word, really maybe good working knowledge. And that is, as we know, formatting legal documents can be challenging no matter how a document was created. The ideal scenario is to work with new, clean documents created from your firm's custom macro package. But that is usually not possible. And first of all, some of you may work at firms without a custom macro package, although this is actually something I really recommend for everybody, that if you don't have a custom macro package, that you consider purchasing one for the ease of creating documents and also for the ability to have your documents look uniform across the board. But in any event, most of the time, typically, documents get worked on by multiple people with multiple versions of Microsoft Word inside your firm and outside of your firm. And in theory, this should really not be a problem, but it is. Text from other Word documents, websites, and email messages often get pasted into a document that can cause formatting issues with paragraphs, also causing issues with numbering and headers and footers. So what you can do about this is to constantly work on your knowledge of Microsoft Word. The more you know about Microsoft Word, the better, and the more you can fix and format your documents. And I will be giving you some tips to help you get to know and work better with Microsoft Word, but I think that having firms making a commitment to their users to learn Microsoft Word, everyone can benefit from that, no matter what their role is. And so hopefully today some of the tips I'm going to be providing for you will help you have a better working knowledge of Microsoft Word as well.
Thank you, Kathleen. And you have some tips for us on using paste unformatted. Why don't you show us how it's done?
Yes, we're going to start with that. So Ashley's going to make me the presenter here, and I'm going to bring up Microsoft Word, and I will be showing you a little bit about using paste unformatted.
There we are.
Okay. All right, so I have launched Microsoft Word, this is 2016, and for the most part, no matter what version of Microsoft Word you have, and also even if you have a custom macro package, the features that I'm going to be going over today are good to know across the board in Microsoft Word, no matter what. So let me bring up a document here to share with you, and I'm going to show you how you can copy text and paste it without any formatting. So what I've brought up is the beginning of my outline today. I have a paragraph here with a hanging indent. Slide 1 is over on the left, and then the text is hanging. The font is Calibri 12. So if I want to copy this text and paste it into another document, and I don't want to bring the formatting over because I don't want this font or I don't want the hanging indent, what you can do is highlight your text. We'll do a copy. I'll just right click to copy here. And then I'm going to paste this into a new clean document that I may want to be working with. So if I do a regular paste, I'll be bringing over the formatting. But if I want to bring this text clean and clear of formatting, no matter what Microsoft Word you have, you will have a paste button with underneath it some options, including Paste Special. So when I click on Paste Special and I choose Unformatted Text, I'm going to click the OK, and you see that I've brought the text over from my sample document, but I've brought it over into Times New Roman 12 formatting because that is the formatting of the paragraph where my cursor started. So Paste Unformatted strips all the formatting from the selected text, and it brings you the text without any potential formatting that could mess up your document. Many of you with custom macro packages may have a button that was prepared for you by the macro package for pasting text unformatted or with a keyboard shortcut. But if you don't have that, or you're working with Microsoft Word from home or a local copy, everyone has the paste options, the Paste Special Unformatted Text. Now, many of you may know about the fact that you can either right-click to paste text, or when you open up the Paste drop-down menu, there is a Keep Text Only option, which is, for all intents and purposes, the equivalent of Paste Unformatted. But I will let you know from years of experience working with Microsoft Word documents that I have seen the Keep Text Only option, which I'll show you now. I'm just going to click on Keep Text Only. It's giving me the same looking results as when I chose Paste Unformatted from the drop-down menu. But I have seen, especially from text copied from a PowerPoint presentation and pasted into a Word document, or text copied from a website and pasted into a Word document, I have seen occasionally that the Keep Text Only seems to hold on to formatting, whereas Paste Unformatted does not. So even though I have no proof of the programming behind Microsoft Word's Keep Text Only versus their programming behind Paste Special Unformatted Text, I always recommend to people that you use what I know to be the most successful way to remove the formatting from your text. So in other words, I teach what I call best practices. And to me, if your goal is to get text into a document free and clear of any formatting that could mess up your current document, then I highly recommend that you use the Paste Unformatted from the drop-down menu. Or if your firm, again, has a custom macro package and the programmer has provided for you a shortcut button or a keyboard shortcut, that be the way that you go ahead and use Paste Unformatted. So the other thing I want to say to you is that you do need to know where your cursor is and on what kind of formatting your paragraph is sitting on. So for example, I'm going to just throw in here a title type formatting to show you that if I use the Paste Unformatted right now, the text that I paste in unformatted is going to take on the formatting of the paragraph where my cursor is sitting. So I was then on a Calibri Light 28 point font and there's probably some random paragraph line spacing possibly in here. But that's why when I pasted Unformatted, my text came in with the Calibri Light 28 point. I'm going to undo that and just show you that that is the reason why when I pasted Unformatted here in my blank document, I was already sitting on a paragraph that was formatted with the Times New Roman 12. So when you choose Paste Unformat, it is important to know where your cursor is sitting so that the text that you bring in will come in to the font that you want and the font size that you want where your cursor is sitting. So those are some tips that I have so far for you today on Paste Unformatted. And I'm going to turn it back over here to Ashley. Okay.
Thank you, Kathleen. So next up, Kathleen will demonstrate controlling formatting when copying and pasting text. Go ahead and put the screen back to you.
Okay. All right. Okay, so my next topic for you today is controlling formatting. And I want to point out to you that I am working in my documents that I've demonstrated, or my text that I've demonstrated to you so far, with the paragraph markers displaying the spaces between the text. If I hit tab, I see the tab markers. And that is one of the things I always work with whenever I'm using Microsoft Word. If someone asks me for help or I need to troubleshoot a document and their paragraph markers are not displayed, the first thing that I do is I go and turn them on. You should all be able to turn those on and off with the Show Hide button in Microsoft Word. So if you were maybe reading a document and you didn't want to see those markers, then you may want to turn those off. But I can't live without them because it helps me understand and see how a document was formatted. So that's just one of those things that I try to recommend to people, especially the more you want to work with Microsoft Word and the more you want to know Microsoft Word, that you work with those paragraph markers and spaces and tab markers showing. So I want to now give you an idea of why it is that you sometimes have text when you paste it, the results of your pasting are different than when you paste another paragraph. So let's take an example of this slide here, my text from slide. Right, so I'll copy this paragraph and I'm going to paste it into my Word document that I've been showing you. And you'll notice that the text comes over with the formatting. It brought over the hanging indent, the bolding of slide 3, the font of Calibri into my text. Now I'm going to copy the same paragraph again, and this time I'm going to make a slight change. I'm not sure if you're going to actually notice what I did or didn't do that's different, but I'm going to copy this paragraph again. And when I bring it over to my Microsoft Word document and I paste the text, do you notice that it brings over the text? It did bring over slide 3 with the bolding and the font size, but instead it no longer has the hanging indent and it didn't bring the font size over with it. So one thing that I've heard from people over the years a lot about working with Microsoft Word that is frustrating is not being able to understand why when you bring text over, sometimes it brings some of the formatting, sometimes it brings all of the formatting, and sometimes it brings numbering over and sometimes it doesn't. Well, the difference between the two pastes that I just did right now is that the first time when I copied the paragraph from slide 3, I highlighted the paragraph mark as well. And in Microsoft Word, the paragraph formatting is contained in the paragraph mark itself. So if you copy text from one document or one location to another, and you include the paragraph mark, you're going to get all of the formatting, not just the font and font size. The second time that I copied the text, I copied it and I excluded the paragraph mark from the highlighting, which means that I'm going to get the text and I'm going to get some of the font formatting depending on how the font was added or created to this particular paragraph. So this is one of many reasons why I like to work with the paragraph markers showing. If I hide the paragraph mark, when I go to copy the text from this paragraph, it's really hard for me to determine whether or not I've actually included the paragraph mark in my highlighting. So if you work with the paragraph markers on and you now have an understanding that the paragraph marker itself contains formatting, now you'll know why you may be getting different results when copying and pasting text. Now, there is another layer to this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the text from slide 3 again, including the paragraph mark. And I'll go back over to my other document, which is set to the Times New Roman font. And we'll go to the end here, and we'll paste this paragraph in. And you may just kind of ignore this little pop-up that appears whenever you paste text, this paste options, but it's something you should be aware of, and it will help you to do some formatting control. When you click the drop-down arrow, it will give you options to choose how you want to paste the text in. Remember the paste text only. So you could potentially use this as a paste unformatted, as I mentioned before. But other times, you may have the option available to you to format or to keep the formatting, and you want to keep the formatting. So I'm going to choose keep source formatting when I paste the text, and so it's not going to change any of the text. If I choose merge formatting, then you notice that it changes my text over to Times New Roman 12 and tries to continue with the formatting in this document. If I choose the drop-down menu and I choose Set Default Paste, you should know, although we're not going to get into this today, that you do have options in Microsoft Word to choose what happens when you paste documents and how it behaves. So when pasting within the same document, you can have the formatting stay the same. When pasting between documents, you could actually choose to have it default to merge formatting or keep text only. And these options can be set per document. So that may also be part of the reason why when you're copying and pasting text between two different documents or copying and pasting text within the same document, that you may be getting results that you're not sure why it's happening. And it could be because these default paste options are set differently in different documents, or maybe differently at one computer that you may work at versus another. All right, so those are my tips for you today on the controlling formatting. And we're going to pop back over to Ashley again here.
Thank you, Kathleen. So moving on, why don't you explain paragraph styles to us and why they are so important?
Okay, and so first of all, a paragraph style is a feature that is built into Microsoft Word that allows you to quickly format text without having to make a lot of formatting choices. Paragraph styles are part of a document. They basically travel with a document. If you create just a plain old white blank Microsoft document, you're going to get styles which are available to you up at the top of your screen. I'm going to open this menu here and just kind of show you that there's a few more. And there's also another way to view this list, which I'll be showing you in a few minutes. But you're going to notice that a plain old white blank document from Microsoft Word, just out of the box, not from a custom template, has a few styles that are available to you to do some formatting, but maybe not really much of what you want. But let's still just see how it works. If I wanted to create a document with a title, there is built into this blank Microsoft document a style called title, and you'll see now that the font came in Calibri Light 28 font. And then when I press enter, something completely different happens. And that's because the style called title has been designed with certain formatting options, like the Calibri Light font size 28. And then it's also been created or programmed so that when I press enter, it automatically gives me a paragraph following it, not in the title formatting. It actually is in what's called normal. A normal style is kind of your basic Microsoft Word, no really formatting, kind of generic, if you will. And if I pop over to my blank document, my sample blank document, you'll notice that this document, the normal style, is what's being used right now in my text. And I have changed the behavior of the normal style to default to be Times New Roman 12 in this particular document. But again, this really doesn't have very many formatting choices whatsoever. So let me take you over to a document that I've created. And it's actually just happens to be a pleading. It doesn't really matter for those of you that are not in litigation. It's not really making any difference whether I'm in a pleading or a letter. I just want to show you that there are styles that have been created, that I've actually created, that will allow me to format text in this document. So let me put just some generic text in this document to demonstrate for you what can happen when using nicely created paragraph styles. So let's say that I want a heading right here. I can go to the styles that I have created, and I was showing you that you can open up this menu right here, but there's another way that you can view styles to use them. And just underneath here on the ribbon is a button for displaying a list of all styles available to you. So I am going to now show you that within this list of styles, I have created one called Center, Bold, and Underline. And so when I click that, you notice that my heading automatically takes on bolding, underlining, centering, and it is centered perfectly on the ruler. So the purpose of using styles is to be able to format text with one click, giving you the results that you want each and every time in your document. So why would I use a style versus just trying to create the formatting on my own? If I try to create the heading format on my own without using this pre-created style, what I would need to do is, first of all, highlight my text, then I would need to bold it, then I would need to underline it, and then I would need to choose center. And do you notice that I am now off center? And that's because in addition to making all those font formatting changes, I also now need to drag the ruler back so that heading lines up perfectly centered on my document. Now, when I press enter, I'm still in the bold, underline, centered formatting. So I may need to now go ahead and take away all those formatting choices. So you can see that this is a really big time waster versus if I had pre-created the style in my document like I did with the headings. So let's just go ahead and put this back to, I'm going to use something called clear all, which is going to clear all of the formatting from this heading paragraph, right? So again, I'll show you if I use the pre-created paragraph style, the pleading, center, bold, underline style, and when I press enter, do you notice that the next paragraph is now in the double-spaced pleading body format? So if I add more text to this paragraph right here, I'm no longer in the heading format. So what I'm wanting you to understand about paragraph styles today is that they can be a very fast, very consistent way for you to format your documents. And they do, again, travel with the document, which means that if you open a document where someone has created styles and you begin editing it, you're able to use whatever those styles are that are already within the document. Now, I'm not saying that the styles in the documents you have are necessarily in very good shape, because there's just no telling where a document may have come from. But if you receive a document that was created with clean styles, either by somebody who did them manually, myself, or from a template, maybe from a macro package, there's nothing wrong with you opening a document and using the pre-created styles. Another feature or option that is often useful in a pleading that I just want to show you, that's another example of a paragraph style that I have created, is the quote format. So in a pleading, you often need a paragraph that is single-spaced and indented on both sides. So I will use this paragraph here that I created, this style, pleading 1-inch quote single, and you notice that immediately my text becomes single-spaced and it's indented on each side. That is one of those time-consuming things to do. There is no keyboard shortcut to create this kind of format in Microsoft Word. And so this is another example of something that's necessary in a lot of documents, not just a pleading, where you might need a single-spaced paragraph that is indented on both the left and the right. And without a paragraph style, you'll need to go into the paragraph dialog box and make formatting changes, which can take time. And then when you press enter, now you can see that you are still in that pleading quote paragraph style. So now you have to undo all your changes. But if I have a style to do what I want, so in this case, I've created the pleading body double style. Now I'm back in my regular double-spaced paragraph format. This is kind of an aside tip, but for those of you who are noticing that the text is in between lines 24 and 25, that just has to do with the fact that the quote is throwing me off. And even though there's all kinds of different things that people have done over the years to try to force the text to line up with the line numbering and change the paragraph indentation or spacing, the quickest and easiest way to fix this problem is to actually go to the end of the single-spaced paragraph and do a manual line break, which is just a Shift-Enter. That's what I've done right now. I've held down the Shift key and pressed Enter, and all I did is trick Microsoft Word into thinking that this single-spaced paragraph is one extra line longer, and now my new text lines up with the line numbering. So this is another formatting feature. It's kind of aside from what we're talking about with styles today, but it's a good time to throw that in as a tip and an example how the manual line break or the soft return, those are different terms that people use for this Shift-Enter, can help you. So that's what I want to say about why and how to use paragraph styles. And then we'll have our final topic, which I'm going to pass back over here to Ashley.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. So now we're going to move on to how to create your own paragraph styles.
All right, so let's pull up a document here, and we're going to do a Microsoft Word blank document. And let's see, am I showing my screen right now? Are you seeing my screen?
No.
Okay. Did you make me the presenter?
Yes.
Okay. There we go. All right, so we should be seeing Microsoft Word now.
Yes, it just needed a minute.
Okay, it's taking its sweet time to update. All right, so I'm going to pull up the plain old white blank Microsoft Word document and put some text in here. And you're going to see that the formatting of this paragraph text is the Calibri 11, and it has some line spacing that I may not want. So I'm going to highlight the text and show you a couple different ways to create a paragraph style. One of them is to create a style by example. So this will allow me to change the formatting of the selected text first. So I'm going to choose Times New Roman, and we'll make it 12 points. And I'm going to go and make some changes to the paragraph spacing as well. I'm going to tell it that I want 12 points of spacing before, and I want my line spacing to be standard single space. All right, so I've formatted this paragraph, and I now need to create it as a style. I happen to have on my toolbar, you'll notice here I have a very long and creative quick access toolbar with lots of buttons on it. And I have added a menu on here for creating and working with paragraph styles. So because this is already on my toolbar, all I need to do is click on that and give my style a name. So we'll call this body left. Any name will do. And so now when I press enter, I have just created a paragraph style. So let's put some more text in here and see how that can work for us. Okay, these are in that Calibri format. Let's make this one a title, and then let's try to use that paragraph style that I just created. All I need to do is place my cursor in this paragraph right here. I can open up this long menu that I have on my toolbar. I can open up this drop down and I'll see that I have my new style available to me. I can go to this call out and bring up the list of styles. Here's the one that I just created called body left. And now when I apply it, or if I highlight multiple paragraphs, body left, it takes on that formatting. So let's create a style with another option for creating what's called a style, again, a style by example. You may not have this style menu on your quick access toolbar, although everyone can go and add that in if they want to. But if you don't have this on your toolbar, how else can you create a style by example? So let's go ahead and highlight one of these paragraphs and we'll make some changes to it. I will make it bold, and I will increase the font, and I will indent both the left and the right side of the paragraph. And another way that I can create a style by example after I've formatted it is to use a keyboard shortcut. If I press Control-Shift-S, it brings up the Apply Styles dialog box. And right in here, I can go ahead and give it a name. So we'll just call this one quote 1 inch and then enter. That's it. I've just created my paragraph style. I used Control-Shift-S. I gave it a name, and now it's available to me. Okay, so if I want to use my new quote style, I have my styles menu open and I press quote 1 inch, and there it is. So that's creating a style by example. Other ways to create styles, if you have your styles panel open, you're going to see buttons down on the bottom, and there is a button here that says New Style. This brings up the style dialog box where you can name your style, and then you can choose formatting options to create whatever style that you may want, including there is an option in this dialog box for style for following paragraph. Do you remember in one of the other documents when I pressed enter after the heading that I had it set so that after my heading format, when I press enter, it automatically gave me the pleating body double style? That's because when you create a style, you can choose, let's bring this dialog box back up, you can choose what happens when you press enter. So let's go ahead and just use my example here of the quote style, and we'll say style for following paragraph will be the quote style. So we're going to create one more new style. I'm going to give it a name, and we'll call this one, let's call this one title heading. Okay, now I'm going to need to choose my formatting options. I can choose some of the formatting options right here, but you can also always go to the format menu. So let's create a different font for my heading. So we'll go with Times New Roman, and we'll choose bold, and we'll make the font size big. We'll make it 18, and just for fun, we'll add a color and we'll make it red. Okay, now if I want this to be a heading that is centered, I can also go to my formatting options and choose paragraph, and I can choose alignment. We'll make that centered. And then on top of that, we will indent both the left and the right by 1/2 inch. So I've added quite a few formatting options to this new paragraph style that I created. And when I click the OK, I now have my new title heading. And when I press enter after my paragraph, I have chosen to have it automatically give me the quote 1-inch style. So not only have I created a style, but I've also chosen what happens when I press enter, so that you don't have to have another red and size 18 font. You can choose whatever formatting that you want on your list of available styles. So for today, those are the Microsoft Word tips that I have prepared for you. And you can see that I'm a big proponent of Microsoft Word styles. And they're not really, I think, hopefully when you get to know it, as scary as a lot of people think they are. And so now not only do you know that you can use existing styles, you know how to create your own styles as well.
Thank you, Kathleen. So at this time, let's go ahead and open up for some questions.
I'm giving it back to you right now.
Okay, let's see questions we've got here.
Okay, so one of the questions that's been sent to us is how to work with styles that were previously set up by someone else. And I did kind of, oh, you better make me the presenter again, sorry. I did kind of show that a little bit, but let me review that with you one more time. And just give us a second here. We're going to pop back over to show my screen again. So it's probably best if we do that for some of these questions. So let's pull up the pleading that has some formatting in it. Actually, I have a different document that I want you to see. All right, so this is a sample pleading that I have, and you can see that it has some headings in it and some other styles available in this particular document. And you can, as I said, I'm going to go ahead and turn these paragraph markers off just for a minute to show you those pink codes. Those have to do with marking citations. That doesn't have to do with this exact example. But I can open up my, I'll put these back on again. I can open up my styles list and see what's available to me that came with this document. So this is not a pleading that I created. I got this from somebody else, another firm that uses a macro package, and you can see that as I scroll through the style list, there's an extensive list that came with the document. So I can go ahead and use whatever formatting that I see as I scroll through this document. So here's a style called flush left double bold. And if I hover over it, it's going to tell me what it was that is part of the style, what was used to create the style. But it's pretty obvious in this case because the style is named very clearly. So if I go ahead and I choose, let's apply that to this paragraph here, the flush left double bold and underline, it's going to allow me to use the styles that exist in the document, even if I wasn't the one who created those styles to begin with. I think I mentioned before, and I will mention to you again, that there is no guarantee that the styles that you choose are going to work well, because you may not know where this text came from or where this document came from, but it can't hurt you to try them out. And if you apply formatting and you want to quickly get rid of it, remember that I demonstrated a clear all. So at the top of your style list, you can always choose clear all. And that will take away any of the formatting that you applied with the style. So if you use a style and it doesn't work right for you, that's not a problem. You can clear all or just choose another list. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. Do we have
next question?
Next question. Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've got another question here. I want some instruction on the paintbrush button. I've used this before when any pleading, when I want to bring over certain codes.
Okay, So let's talk about the paintbrush. If you go and let's copy text from, we'll use my sample document. So I created this red centered heading paragraph, and all of the attributes of this particular paragraph have been built into the paragraph style. And because of that, when I place the cursor on the paragraph and I use the format painter, it's going to allow me to copy all of the formatting, the style and everything without having to highlight the whole paragraph. So let's give that a try and see if that works. So here's how the format painter can, not always, it depends on how the paragraph is created, work for you. You place your cursor on the paragraph that contains the formatting that you like or that you want to copy. You click the format painter, and then you go ahead and you paint or click once on the paragraph that you want to format. So you'll notice that the paragraph above it now takes on the font, the formatting, the paragraph indenting, everything from the paragraph below. So that's in theory the format painter working at its best. I'm going to undo that and we're going to paint again because I'm going to show you another tip about the format painter that you may not be aware of. So again, I've placed my cursor on the paragraph that contains the formatting that I want to keep. And I then double click the format paintbrush, which is going to allow me to paint multiple paragraphs over and over again in my document with the paintbrush. Once you've formatted all the paragraphs that you wish with the paintbrush, you can either hit the escape key on the keyboard in the upper left corner of your keyboard, or you can just click the format painter button again to turn it off. So a lot of people are aware that the format painter is a way, I'm undoing right now, a way of copying formatting from one paragraph to another, but may have not known that the format painter is a button that you're able to double click in order to apply the formatting multiple times. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you about that I was mentioning, the reason why I got all of the formatting, the font, the indenting is, again, because I created this as part of a paragraph style. You won't always know how a paragraph is created, especially if you're trying to work with somebody else's document. And I find that the format painter is one of those buttons that is often really helpful to use when you receive a document from outside of the firm. And all you know is that they have a formatting in their document in a particular spot that you want to be able to continue or use again later on in the document. So if that's the case, what I would actually recommend to you when using the format painter is you highlight an entire paragraph, including the paragraph mark. Remember the fact that I mentioned the paragraph mark contains all of the formatting of the document? Because you may not know how a particular paragraph was formatted. If it was created with a nice, neat, clean style, no problem. You don't have to highlight the whole paragraph, including the paragraph mark. But if you want to make sure you're copying all the formatting of the selected paragraph, then I recommend that you highlight the entire paragraph, and then you can single click or double click the format painter, and you'll be sure to get all the formatting that is contained within that paragraph. So let's just double click the format painter, and then we'll just paint again. This time I'm copying and pasting the formatting only of the quote paragraph that I created at the top of the document. So that's kind of a good overview of how the format painter can work for you. There are keyboard shortcuts associated with it if you happen to like them. If you point to a button, if there is a keyboard shortcut associated with it, most of the time it should show you. So you'll notice as I point to the format painter that Control-Shift-C is the keyboard shortcut to copy the formatting from a particular paragraph. So let's do that one more time here. I will highlight my paragraph and I will use Control-Shift-C on the keyboard. Oops, see that again. Control-Shift-C, and then I'm using the keyboard shortcut. I'm pointing back here, Control-Shift-V to paste the formatting. So there you have it. That is the format painter.
Fantastic. All right, we've got a couple more questions here. So next up, does the style list stay the same in all documents?
No, the style list does not stay the same. So if I create, let's do this just really quickly again here. I'm going to create one of those brand new blank documents from Microsoft Word. I have, with Microsoft Word, basically out of the box, so to speak, a very small limited list that comes with Microsoft Word in this document. If I pull up the pleading that, let's see, which one do I want to show you? The one that I created. So this is my own pleading document where I created all of these styles right here. This list is obviously very different than the list that I just showed you from the Microsoft Word blank document. So every document has its own unique list depending on how it was created. And those styles do travel though. Remember I said they travel with the document. So if I was to email this document to any of you on the call today, all of the styles in this list would be usable, including, although we're not talking about numbering today, we can do that maybe in another call, but there are also headings that I have created which include numbering. And that will travel with the document if those numbering paragraph styles were created correctly.
Perfect. All right. And so we've got time for one more question here. Can you share styles with other people?
You can, but it's one of those things where it is probably going to be unique to each person's environment. So I would say that that would be one of those things where I should answer in a training session with someone, or, you know, a unique one-on-one, because it really depends on your environment and what version of Microsoft Word that you have and whether you have macros. So I'll just leave it as that would be one of those custom training things to cover with some of you, possibly one-on-one. Okay, so I'm going to turn it back over to you. Okay.
I've got it.
Okay, oh, you got it. Okay.
All right, thank you, Kathleen.
Okay.
So if this was helpful, but you'd like to dive a little deeper, or maybe you need some education and training on other applications, WAMS can help. Kathleen provides trainings both remotely or in-house, and these can be group sessions or one-on-one, depending on, you know, the difficulty or the amount of attention that you need. We offer total customization in our trainings and tailor it to your needs. Kathleen can train on most general software, legal software, custom macro packages, and Microsoft Office, as well as document management systems and security training. And we can be reached at info@wamsinc.com to learn more or to get a quote for some training. Now, if any of you are curious about what else WAMS can do to make your IT solution the best it can be, we offer managed services, cloud services, projects and consulting, security auditing and implementation, disaster recovery, and of course, training. We can be reached at 800-421-7151, and you can visit wamsinc.com to learn more. So thank you so much for joining us today. Stay tuned, as next month we will be having another WAMS webinar Wednesday, and we will cover Outlook email management. That will be held August 22nd at 10 a.m. So thank you again, and we will see you next month.